So my take-home message is here: safe sex practices, quit smoking, take an annual clinical examination. This is again very, very important. And pap test or liquid-based cytology, which is the new recent version, with your gynecologist every 3 years. HPV test every 5 years. HPV vaccination to all the girls in your family. This is actually an awareness program, and we really don't want this to be confined to you only. Please discuss in your family. Any girl who is in your family, please advise them on the benefit of HPV vaccination. Okay, we can consult your pediatrician, gynecologist. It's available freely. It's a bit costly, but I think it's worth it. And visit your doctor for any abnormal symptoms at the earliest. Instead of searching in Google and YouTube, please do consult your gynac. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So let's join hands to reduce cervical cancer. Thank you so much for patient hearing.
We should take a few questions.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the questions, so that any queries, please feel free to solve at this platform.
Yeah. Earlier you mentioned that in developed countries, HPV screening test is mandatory. But why our country is not mandatory?
Okay. See, government could not make it as mandatory because it's a test where you have to go for an examination, right?
Yes.
So many females actually they get a bit of shyness, okay, to go and visit a doctor and get that test done. This is first. Means even if you look in the cities first.
Yes.
So if I take a statistics of even educated females who has undergone this test, they are still very few. Like even in our hospital, I know many of our doctor colleagues are still thinking that they will do this test, but they haven't done yet. Okay, this is one. Second, the awareness. Many of the females really didn't know only that this is a mandatory thing which should be done. So the government, even the group, the national FOXY group, what we have for obstetrician and gynecologists, we are really now emphasizing. Take out some time in the chamber and we really discuss with them that this is important, please do it. So that's why we actually are putting up all these awareness programs.
Ma'am, I have another question also. Why our Indian women feel shy for this type of disease?
See, I think the Indian culture really is not now so very open. Definitely, we are actually moving towards that, but still, there is so many cultural taboos here. Okay, so even discussing a simple menstrual hygiene, the girls are not so open now, right? So, thinking about cervical cancer, suppose a discharge, how does it present? The first thing, it's the lady comes with abnormal vaginal bleeding or a vaginal discharge. This is a very, very common symptom, right? But still they think ये ठीक हो जाएगा या कुछ treatment ले लिया. But then by the time they reach finally to doctor, it's already spread. Got it? So definitely we need to be like more vocal now. We should speak, we should talk about it, and we should come forward.
And also you mentioned that HPV vaccine available in market from earlier last 10 years. So why we are much more or not aware about the vaccine, or women are not aware about the vaccine?
HPV vaccine, when it came into market for the first time, okay, so definitely see, whenever a new product comes, you just want to know first what is the actual effect, how much protection will it give you, right? So even as doctors also, we were also a bit hesitant to talk about it, because even I don't know how much efficient it is. But now after a complete study of 10 years, okay, now we have a data to support that, so I can confidently put you forward, yes, you should go with it. Like I can say to my daughter, I will give this. Got it? So as the time passes, we have more and more data. The prices are coming down. It's like the HPV vaccine cost quadrivalent 4,000 rupees. So definitely like everybody is not willing to think even about it. So that's why we don't offer to every other patient. But now that we know government is coming up, government will bring down the prices, and now we know that it's so efficacious that somewhere else, purchasing clothes, please forget that and put in vaccine. It will be worth your life. Got it?
Yes, ma'am. And what do you think, like malaria vaccine is free, like so many vaccines?
Excuse me, don't deviate from the main thing, okay?
Okay.
Please, if you have related to HPV, you ask. Okay. So you are asking a very general question. Okay. So how many of you, madam, has completed her lecture and she talked about HPV? How many of you can abbreviate this? Raise your hand. HPV virus, madam talked, na? How many of you can do this? Her lecture is over. So what is the full form of HPV? Can you tell? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. How many of you can tell HPV? Yes, can you tell? What is the full form of HPV? Yes, this is the answer of your question. You said that why people are not aware, why women are not coming up. Because when a student of Royal Global University, a brilliant one, when you are not able to understand it, how a woman from a rural area can respond or can reply. You know, madam was talking about foul smelling discharge. You know, in rural areas and in medical term, it is known as leukorrhea. It is a disease. So what people feel, the family member or husband or your mother, that it may be a disease like leukorrhea and they don't go to the doctor. So if there is any symptom with you, with your family, with your mother, with your bhabiji, with your chachi, you please contact the doctor, gynecologist, number one. My question is, you said that it is due to unsafe sex. Okay. So if the husband is smoking and the wife is not smoking and she is having single sex with her husband only, so then how much she is about to catch this virus?
Yes, sir.
And another, I will add one more question and then you can continue. You talked about this pap smear test, and you said that pap smear test should be repeated in 3 years,
Yes.
and this one HPV test should be repeated in 5 years. If there is no symptom and if the family is happy and they are growing, they don't have any symptom like bleeding or leukorrhea or any foul smell, so what is the percentage to get it? Please.
So like if we consider a monogamous relationship, now this HPV transmission we need to understand that it is not only through sexual practices, but what is important is from skin to skin contact. It can get even in your hands, like hands to genitalia. Okay, so this is the way it spreads. Like this is a very common question. If I'm in a unigamous relationship, then how can I get it? But we need to understand that it is through skin to skin contact. So anytime, and it can from, like we say, no, this warts which happen, HPV warts. Now it can happen anywhere in your body. It can happen in your face, in your throat, anywhere. So this HPV can get transmitted by skin to skin, but definitely the sexual practices, if not safe one, will actually add more to it. That's the thing. And so for the second question, like, yes, we are screening the normal healthy individuals. Now in those cases, what we say is that the sensitivity of this test is to the tune of 70%. So if the lady is not having any problem, if she is all fine, then the chances definitely are very less. But we do have picked up many ladies which are having these changes but are not having the symptoms as such. So that's our focus here, that with this test we actually want to pick up those ladies who have still, like in the very first stage, like as you have seen CIN1, CIN2, 3. So when she is not presenting with symptoms, generally we get in a very, very early stage, like CIN1. So there's the target and there's a role of the screen we are actually offering.
Thank you. You should ask questions. Even
Yes.
girls, please ask questions. If you have
Yes,
some
sir.
question, something.
So I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I would like thanks to accept my invitation. My question is, what are the chances of the reoccurrences after the cancer detection?
What are the chances of?
Reoccurrence.
Suppose
Recurrence.
Yes.
after treatment,
And reoccurrence and what are the survival rate?
Okay, I think our cancer specialist
Yes, yes.
will be
Yeah.
able to deal with
I'll be
it
answering this
better.
question actually. See, I'll be actually incorporating something, some of the, I mean the basic concepts of staging of cancer in my slides. So I'll tell this, I mean in detail in the slides. Okay. So, by thumb rule, stage 1 and 2 is early stage of cancer, and most of the time, I mean the 90% of the time, you can actually cure the patient of cancer in early stages of cancer, like stage 1 and stage 2. In locally advanced cancers, in general, the cure rate is quite low. Like the recurrence rate comes to around 70 to 90% in fact. It varies according to what cancer we're referring to. But then in case it is stage 3 also, the most important point is that it is still curable. And we have stage 4A and stage 4B in cervical cancers. And in many cancers we don't have stage 4A and B. So if it spreads to other organs, we call it stage 4 in other cancers, whereas it's stage 4B in cervix, cell cervix. So stage 4A, we can actually treat the patients, cure the patients of cancer till stage 4A. Until the patients, it's the cure, not every time actually we can actually cure the patient. Even in stage 1 and 2, the cure rate is around 90%. So 10% of patients will definitely recur. So that is why the screening is very important, so that we can detect the cancers very early and the cure rate is higher. So when the cancer stage advances, the rate of cure actually falls down drastically.
My another question: alcohol can increase in the cervical cancer? Any reported?
Is there any role of it?
Because I have reported in the HPV in oral cancer, tobacco and alcohol has increased high risk HPV infection in oral cancer. But what about the cervical cancer and what are the role of alcohol?
Okay, for cervical cancer, alcohol, I haven't studied it as risk. Smoking, no doubt, has got an added
Already
effect.
smoking is reported.
Yeah, smoking is important, but alcohol with cervical cancer, I don't know any connection as such. I didn't put that.
In the oral cancer is reported. I have reported in the tobacco and the.
No, in oral cancers and all, it's okay. But HPV relation with cervical cancer and alcohol being a risk factor.
So basically, if you see both cervical cancer and penile cancer, both are caused only by HPV, like 99% of the time. So 1%, which is adenocarcinoma of the cervix, it's from the Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, is a familial syndrome of having cancers. But then, for the cervical cancer to happen, the HPV has to come via some source. And if the patient has got, for example, there's a male who is promiscuous, he smokes, he has got multiple sexual partners also. So actually, the thing is that it actually shows us whatever the risk factors that we're seeing is the risk factor of having, multiple diseases actually, of STDs also. Like the HPV needs to be introduced in any case. So these are actually smoking. It might be related, but then it does not cause cervical cancer per se. So we can just say that if these habits are associated, then maybe the patient has, the male or female has got more chance that she might have the cancer. So we just, but it does not cause the cancer per se.
Okay, so in this case, we can say that even the male are the carrier of this HPV?
Yes.
Actually, even the penile cancers, 99% of the penile cancers are actually HPV related. And all the risk factors that you are seeing over here are the risk factors for penile cancer. But then penile cancer is not a public health problem as of now. But then cervical cancer is a public health problem. The same vaccine can actually, if you give the same vaccine to a male, that will protect the male from having the penile cancer.
Okay.
So this cervical vaccine is recommended for boys also.
Okay.
In Australia they give it for boys also. But definitely, first we want to focus on our girls here, and then once it becomes cheaper, maybe it will come for boys also as well.
Yes. The thing is that because the penile cancer, if you just chart out if you just check out the data, it falls very low in the burden of cases. But then the risk factor, everything, the pathobiology, everything is same basically. See, very few cancers are actually caused by a virus. So this is one of the cancers.
The virus is a biological carcinoma.
Yes.
Yes, this is a biological carcinoma. Yes.
So we should give a big clap to Madam.
Good afternoon, ladies and dear students. So I'll be speaking on cancer. So all of you know what is cancer, right? It's a life-threatening disease. But then, what exactly is cancer? Before that, there is a very popular saying that cancer has no answer. Once you are diagnosed with cancer, you are just left to die. Previously, yes, it might be true, but now with the advancement of treatments and all, with advancement of technologies, like we have got better diagnostic tools, we have got better screening tools, we've got some programs which has come up now, like India has now, India is planning to come up, the government is planning to come up with vaccinations for even for several cancers. That way, that will go a long way in prevention of the cancers. So it's no longer true that cancer has no answer. It does have answer, but then it is curable only in the early stages. Actually, my slides were this one. Anyways, the definition of cancer is the uncontrolled growth of cells or tissues. So this is the definition. So anything which goes out of control, any tissue. See, there might be some benign tumors also. So a tumor might be benign means which is not of cancer, or it might be malignant, means which is no control, for which the body has no control. So suppose I have a tumor over here. Tumor means, there's a mass of cells or tissue which we don't need, tumor. And the tumor may be cancerous or non-cancerous. We have to differentiate between that. And if it is uncontrolled, only then we call it cancer or malignancy. So the cancer evolution is, like ma'am said, ma'am actually starts from the pre-cancer stages. There is a pre-cancer stage also. But then once the cancer happens, the stage 1 and 2 is early stage of cancer, where the cancer is localized. Then we have the regional or locally advanced stage, which is called stage 3, where it has not spread to other organs. Once it goes to the bloodstream and spreads to other organs, the cancer becomes non-curable. So, what we know from here is that cancer is curable if detected early. That means in the stage 1 and 2. Most of the time, you can actually cure the patient of cancer, but then in stage 3, only 30% of the patients will get cured. In stage 4, negligible amount of the patients, number of patients will get cured. It's curable only if detected early. So if you see the data of the latest Indian data, the number of cases that you can see the first 5 most common cancers are breast cancer, lip and oral cavity cancer, uterine cervix cancer, lung cancer, and colorectal. And all the other cancers actually constitute only just almost half the, just more than half the pie chart. So we'll be speaking on the 5 most common cancers today. Ma'am has already spoken, given a very nice presentation on uterine cervix cancer. So I will be speaking on breast cancer, lip and oral cavity cancers, lung and colorectal. See the breast cancers. Breast cancers are, if we go back to the slide, can you see this is the number of cases in 2020 on both sexes in all ages. So breast cancer, even if you combine the data for men and women at the same time, even then the breast cancer stands out. This is the most common cancer even if you combine the whole population. Like in fact, more than 1/4 of the cancers in women are actually of breast cancer. So breast cancer is something which we can prevent. Why? Because it's outside our body. Like you can easily feel your breast and say if there is something abnormal about it. The risk factors include the increasing age or family history. See, there are a lot of risk factors, but then the real risk factor is the deficiency, there's the gap between the energy intake and the energy expenditure. The gap between how much you take and how much you spend, on physical activity should be as less as possible. You should not eat much, and even if you eat, you have to eat healthy. You will have to have adequate antioxidants in your diet. You will have to have adequate fibers. You cannot be obese. You have to run. You have to practice a very healthy lifestyle. You will have to exercise. So you have to avoid drinking, avoid smoking. So basically, anything, if you are taking some amount of taking energy in any form, you need to spend it. You just need to remember that. And that is a risk factor for many other cancers, like cancer also, like colorectal cancer. These are cancers that happen because of disorders of the metabolism. So how can we detect the breast cancer very early? We have a lot of tools like breast self-examination, where the woman is encouraged to examine herself in front of the mirror. We have the clinical breast examination, which is being done by nurses or clinicians, and ultrasound study of the breast and mammogram. See, I'll just show you once how to do it. So the female will need to stand in front of a mirror. She will have you seen the other different poses that there's been depicted. So in different positions, she will have to examine her breast. She will have to inspect first. Inspect if there is anything problematic, like if there is a puckering, if there is any changes in the shape and size of the nipple, if there is any asymmetry between the sizes of both the breasts, like that. Then what she needs to do is that if she is examining the left breast, she needs to take her hand up and then start examining. So we need to divide the breast into 4 quadrants, 4 parts. So each part just palpate twice, like that, in 2 lines, in 2 straight lines. Okay, you need to palpate like that, and also around the areola you need to palpate like this circularly around the areola. So you need to repeat this thing in all the quadrants in both the breasts, and that should be favorably on 1st to 5th day of menstruation. What happens is that just prior to menstruation, the breasts are actually quite heavy. They feel engorged, and sometimes you'll get a lump. So after menstruation, what happens is that due to hormonal factors, this all goes away. So it's preferable that you do this breast self-examination thing only on day 5 of your menstruation. So this is a mammogram which clearly shows an abnormality over here. See, I'll move over to the lip and oral cavity cancers, but before I move, is there any questions that I need to take? Have you got any questions regarding any breast cancer? Because it's a very huge topic. I have given like a few slides. If you want to ask me anything, I'm ready to answer. Okay. So lip and oral cavity cancers. Now this is very important for boys because this is the most common cancer in men in India. Just contrast it with the world data. The world data says that lung cancer is the most common in males. But then over here, the boys don't smoke actually. They take vodka, they take like this one, sadhana and all. So the males over here in India, they mostly take smokeless tobacco. But then tobacco, okay, but then it has got some carcinogens like 25 carcinogens in smokeless tobacco, and in fact, if you take a cigarette, you'll get around 70 carcinogens. It's not that we all know about nicotine, right? We all think that nicotine is a bad thing that causes cancer, but it does not cause cancer. It is a curing process. It is the procurement, the way that the tobacco leaf is actually processed that makes that makes it a carcinogen. So basically, this nicotine is only an addictive substance. It does not cause cancer. There are 25 other carcinogens which actually can cause cancer if you take smokeless tobacco. These oral cavity cancers are also very, they can also be detected very well because it's outside, it can be inspected, it's not inside our abdomen, where we'll need a CT scan or ultrasound, or a lung cancer, we'll need a CT scan to detect such kind of cancers. But then for oral cavity cancers, it's very easy to detect. This is a kind of, this is a tongue cancer, so this kind of thing is very hard to miss. So even screening goes a very long way in Indian population for all cancers. So you might know her, she is Poonam Pandey. So the man has already given such a nice talk on uterine cervix. So I just skip my slides. So lung cancer, it's mainly caused by smoking. Like there is no other cause for lung cancer other than smoking. Like most of 19% of people having cervical cancer will have HPV. The same way, anyone having lung cancer, 19% of people will be smoking tobacco. The same way, 19% of patients will be having mouth cancers, will be having tobacco, the smokeless tobacco. So it's not like that, see, still 1% will get cancer because of some healthy thing or something. There are sometimes which is the patient might get cancer and we cannot explain, but then that is a very negligible amount. So if you can actually avoid the risk factors, we can easily avoid these kind of cancers. So it is mostly caused by smoking or inhalation of carcinogens. Most common in cancer in men worldwide, followed by prostate and colorectal cancer, and is a leading cause of death globally. But then not everyone will get cancer. The Western data says that only heavy smoking will cause cancer, like 20 packets. If I smoke one pack for 20 years continuously, only then I'll get a cancer. But then the Indian data is different from the Western data. Indian data says that Indian people will get cancer in a much lesser time, in much lesser packets. Colorectal cancer, like breast cancer, the risk is breast or RCC or renal cell cancer. The difference between the energy intake and the energy expenditure is what causes this kind of cancers. At the same time, we actually don't take much of fibers. The patients, the urban dwellers are chronically constipated. So we need to take a lot of fiber so that we can flush out the toxins. There are a lot of lifestyle factors also. If the mostly our diet, the urban diet consists of proteins and fat, we have to take more of fibers, more of fluids, so that this cancer of the rectum and the colon can be prevented. And screening is recommended, but then it is recommended only in Western countries because the incidence of colorectal cancer is quite high in the Western countries because they have more of fat and more of protein intake than we take here in India. But then they do screening for which the mortality due to cancer is quite less. So the screening is recommended with colonoscopy from the age of 45 years. What we mean by colonoscopy is that we take a camera, we take it inside the patient through the anus, we check the whole of the colon, and then we look for cancers or any suspicious lesion and take a biopsy from there if there is a suspicious lesion. So that way, even if there is early cancer or like or we call it polyp, which is actually a pre-cancer stage, so that can be detected early. One very good thing about colorectal cancer is that the adenocarcinoma sequence takes around 10 years. That means a benign tumor will fall first, then it will transform into cancer at the end of 10 years. So if you can do the colonoscopy, you have got like 10 years to detect a benign lesion. If you can detect the benign lesion, take a biopsy. If you can confirm that on biopsy that it is something which is of concern, then we can take the action appropriately at that point of time. So this is a very high-yielding screening program actually. So this can screening with colonoscopy can save a lot of lives. Now, esophageal cancer doesn't feature anywhere in the top 5 cancers, but then in Kamrun Metro, you know, the most common cancer is esophageal cancer. This is due to practice of taking tamul, pan and tobacco at the same time, which is actually, and at the same time we also take soon the lime, which is a very strong corrosive, which injures the mucosa and causes this kind of cancers. And mostly it's in upper third, because the people taking the this mixture swallow it, and most of the injury occurs in the upper one third of the esophagus. I hope everyone knows about what the esophagus is, right? It's a food pipe. So it's a food pipe that connects your neck to the stomach, and this is the most menacing. The problem with esophageal cancer is that this is very, very aggressive. Like you don't even get these patients in stage 1 and 2, and even if you get the patients in stage 1 and 2, the recurrence rate is quite high. The cancer comes back. It's very menacing. And like I'll give you an example why this is why we fear this cancer so much. For example, if you've got thyroid cancer, the 10-year survival is around 90%. Thyroid cancer is so good. But then esophageal cancer, 5-year survival is 0. It's such an aggressive. And even if you check, even after treatment in stage 1 and 2, the median survival is around 18 to 24 months, which is around 2 years. 50% of men, people who even underwent the curative treatment, even they will only 50% will survive till 2 years. So it's a very, aggressive disease and very depressing to treat these patients. People, most of the time, they have difficulty in swallowing food as the first symptom. But then the patients actually come to us by the time when they cannot even swallow their own saliva, which is the most advanced stage, and by then, most of the time, we cannot offer them a very curative treatment. So, with this, I finish my presentation. Thank you for patient listening. If you have any questions, you can directly ask me.
Sir, what are the precautions and diagnosis of breast cancer?
Precautions, like it's very hard to, for diagnosis of breast cancer, there are 3 things. One is mammogram, one is FNSC, one is ultrasound. Also actually we combine the ultrasound and mammogram at the same time, and one is biopsy. So this is called triple assessment. One from the history also we can come to know. History, some tissue biopsy like FNSC or biopsy. FNSC is cytology, and biopsy is taking off some amount of flesh from the tumor, and then radiography. Either we need to image it, right? It may be either through MRI or mammogram. Most of the time it is mammogram or ultrasound. So you're telling about diagnosis, right? So diagnosing. At first, what we do is that we screen. We first want to know if the tumor that you have is really cancer or not. For that, we just at first when we ask the patient, we ask the patient to go through a mammogram. Like, did you see an X-ray where there was a See, this is a mammogram. Like, this will show you the kind of lesion that you have, where you have it. Then we need to sample. We need to see if that thing, that the abnormality that we're seeing in the X-ray is really of concern or not. It might be some benign thing also. You don't need to do anything for a benign tumor. Only if it is malignant, we'll go for surgery or any other therapy. Okay. For that, what we do is that we either go for a FNSC, fine needle aspirin cytology, or biopsy, sugar biopsy, in different clinical situations, according to the stage of the patient, according to the patient's age. Okay, so we'll decide to go for FNAC or biopsy. That way we can confirm that the tumor that is there in the breast is a cancer or not. And then once we confirm that the cancer is there, we ask for the staging information. Like we need to know if the cancer has gone to the bones or not. So we'll order bone scan. We need to know if the tumor has gone to lungs or not. So for that we'll order for a CT4X. We need to know if the cancer has gone to liver or not. So for that we'll do an ultrasound of the abdomen or CT scan of the abdomen. So these are the investigations that we ask for. First, to know the diagnosis, and secondly, to know the staging, so that we can select the patients for treatment appropriately. For example, if the patient is in stage 1 and 2, we'll go for surgery first. If the patient is locally advanced, the stage 3, then we'll go for chemotherapy followed by surgery. If the patient is already stage 4, there is no role of surgery. So like that, we need to take some management decisions according to what investigations we order. And the second question is what?
So you wanted to know precautions. What are the precautions and how one can protect herself with the breast cancer?
So precautions is nothing. I mean, see, the thing is that, like I said, the energy that you take in and the energy that you spend. I'm talking about food. Okay, if you're taking like 2,000 kilocalories, but you're spending only 1,000, so you'll chronically ingest 1,000 kilocalories more, and this will add to fats. So being obese is not cool, is bad. Okay, it might be right in social media, some body positive, something like that. No, this is actually quite wrong. Everyone should be healthy, should look good. You should shed as much as extra kgs that you have as much as possible. So this is one thing. Then again, exercise. If you have low physical activity, if you are obese, then if you smoke, if you take alcohol, if in fact even if you take oral contraceptive pills for a longer period of time, because it's a hormonal cancer also. There are different types of breast cancers actually. There is not one cancer. We cannot actually put up everything and put it in one basket like breast cancer. There are different kinds of breast cancer, and some kinds of breast cancer actually are hormone sensitive. So that kind of cancers are actually increased if you take OCPs for a longer period of time like that. So I will show you the precautions, all the risk factors. If you just can avoid the risk factors, are the precautions that you can take for prevention of breast cancer. Can you get my point? Yes. All the risk factors just avoid those risk factors. They will become a precaution.
Is there any symptoms for?
Yes, the breast cancer symptom, the first symptoms that you can see is a lump. So 90% of the time there will be a lump. Then sometimes there will be some discharge from the nipple. Sometimes there will be irregularity of the skin. Sometimes you won't see anything in the breast, but then if some lump might occur in your underarms, in your armpit. So these are the most common symptoms. So, but then if for example, if the cancer is already spread, the patient is not aware of it. Sometimes even I have seen some patients who complained of backache, and on MRI it came out to be some tumor from other origin. When we checked, it was actually breast cancer, which has gone to the bones. So the first cancer might be a symptom of the cancer going outside the diseased organ also. So sometimes you can even various presentations of breast cancer, but then the most common cancer is a lump which is painless, so which increases in size. The first time you notice it was the size of a marble, then it slowly increased to the size of an olive. Then you can know that yes, this is something which is very concerning. I should go and see a doctor.
But many of the time it is said that the women who is not feeding, breast feeding,
Yes.
so it increases the chance of having this. So
Yes.
is it right, or what
Yes,
do you
sir.
feel?
Yes,
Please
sir.
tell them.
Yes, this is actually yes. Breast is why did God create the breast? To feed, right? We should see, this is not feeding a child for entire lifetime is actually not natural. See, the more early minority, like starting of the menses and late menopause, it what it does is that the body gets exposed to a lot of cycles of progesterone and estrogen. So, like I said, some forms of breast cancer, they are caused by some hormonal imbalance. They are hormone sensitive. So, these cyclical changes, they ultimately, because when a lady gets pregnant, her menstruation, the cycle actually breaks, and the function that the breast has to do is actually utilized. That way, the patient, the woman gets protection from from more of hormonal surge if the patient gets pregnant. Can you get my point? I think I'm not clear about it. If you're not, okay, I will try one more time. Okay. So the thing is that from menarche till menopause, that will, let us say that the women, she attained menarche at the age of 15 years, and then she attained menopause at the age of 45 years. So there's 30 years of cyclical changes going on every month. So if you can just cut down the number of cycles of estrogen and progesterone, somehow the exposure to the cyclical changes, the hormones, will be less. So if the patient has got 2 pregnancies, then by and large, the number of years having these cyclical changes will go down. Like it will be 20 years for her if she has got 2 babies. So that way she gets protected. She will get protection from the cyclical, from the surge of estrogen and progesterone hormones inside the body. I hope I can actually.
This is medically given definitions, and that is. But if you have clarity, it's fine. Otherwise, you can ask question. I can see many blank faces. Why these faces are blank? Are you punished with this lecture? Now, please speak loudly. Are you punished with this lecture, or you are going to be having something? Yeah, see, just fine. It's good. And from this side, please feel free, because you know, dear students, this is high time when one should act, because you are at the right age, when you should go to your family, you should talk to your sister, you should talk to your bhabhi or whosoever relatives. So when doctor said that even the male are responsible for this, many of the time you may be understanding, no, only females are responsible. But it is clear that male are also responsible. If you are smoking and other things are also. So feel free, you be the agent of change. Unless you are aware, you cannot make your society aware. Okay, so read much more about this, consult a doctor and create awareness among your parents, among your family, among your society. Please ask questions if you have any confusion. Please.
Sir, yes. Sir, except tobacco and thamurpan, is there any other daily life habit or food which can cause oral cancer?
Oral cancer, no, most of the time it's not tobacco, like 98% of the time it's not tobacco which is responsible. But then new studies have come up which says that mostly in Shillong, the battlement over there, they take it with a lot of lime. So it might be so that the corrosiveness of the lime might be responsible, or it might be the battlement which is responsible, we don't know yet. But then battlement is also a proven carcinogen.
Betel nut is main responsible for development of oral cancer, because I have reported so many papers.
Betel nut?
Yes. Because my PhD topic is the betel nut in the carcinogens, the mutations level of genotypic genes and DNA repair genes and cell cycle. Many in the northeast people, the maximum Assam cases are due to the betel nut consumption.
Actually, there is always a compounding factor. Like when
I have reported in the several papers.
Yes, if you ask him very clearly, are you sure you know?
Because
take tobacco?
yeah, because
what, yes, I take tobacco because I see the patients on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I rarely find someone who says that yes, I take only betel nut, I don't take tobacco. They will
betel nut
always
plus
take tobacco.
lime.
Lyme, yes.
Yeah,
That,
Lyme
that
also
kind of
responsible,
patients,
yeah.
that kind of patients you'll only find in Shillong.
Yes.
Because I was in Negrims.
Yes, yes.
So in Negrims, you'll find they don't take tobacco. They don't have the practice of taking tobacco with the veteriner.
Yes, sir.
But in Assam, you cannot say that because very rarely.
So many people reported, sir.
But then there is always mixed with tobacco, tobacco leaf.
Tobacco plus lime
No, yes, tobacco plus lime, but
and betel nut plus lime, both.
but then you'll always find, they won't say most of the time,
Yes,
but
sir.
there is always on inquiry, if you just ask the attendance, is it really so that she doesn't, actually even I was actually in this study, one of my seniors was there, Dr. Caleb Harris. So he was one of the first persons who actually reported this thing. So I actually am naturally, I really think that, I'm really interested in this thing. I really want to know.
So because according to WHO, the 60 to 70 types of cast species are present in the betel nut.
See, betel nut, you cannot say that there is.
Already reported, sir, according to WHO.
Okay, I might not be able.
Sir, I have a question. Having the fermented meat and the fermented smoked food are related to the development of any cancer?
Yes,
Because the polysaccharide aromatic hydrocarbon is
Yes,
highly
yes.
carcinogenic.
See, one of the reasons why Mizoram, Manipur, Mizoram has got a very high incidence of CS stomach and C. esoterics also, is the reason, what do you say? Smoked food.
Smoked
And even in Nagaland also.
Yes, sir.
So, you have a lot of aromatic hydrocarbons over there.
Yeah.
Nitrosamines.
Because I have found lots of gene mutations in our research is going on this cyclin genes and the genotype gene. So lots of finding I have this gene mutation using the fermented food and the smoked food in the Assam samples.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking.
Okay. Yes, definitely. In Assam, actually, it's quite hard to say that. Mostly it's due to tobacco.
Yeah.
But then, yes, in Mizoram you can say that because we don't have the practice of taking this smoked food over here.
Yes, sir.
Even if we take it, it's like it's not enough to alter the genes.
Maximum genes are responsible.
Yes,
Like
yes.
genotype
Yes,
and the
some gene or the other has to be altered
Yes.
to get the cancer. Yes, you're right.
Okay, nice talk, sir.